Hey guys, it's your boy RivaThames. Today we're looking over some of the things in the game that have changed from when we first heard about the game up until now. Some of these changes you fans out there might know instantly, but for the new players to the game, it might be quite interesting to see what Battlefront was like almost 1 year ago. If you guys do know these features, then just take it as a fun video to look back on what Battlefront once was. So Chewie's appearance, if you're a long-time fan of the game, you know what I'm on about. But this picture, believe it or not, it was actually Chewbacca back in November when the game launched. Hard to believe, right? DICE completely swapped out his appearance for something that looked more like him later on, as we know the Chewie nowadays. Just look at the comparison. I actually forgot this was a thing a while ago until I watched one of my recent videos. It's pretty crazy that an entire model was in there for Chewie, and it may have just been a placeholder while the other one was still being worked on, since it does look pretty similar to the Wookiee warrior in the beginning. But nonetheless, I'm glad DICE decided to change it. So there you go, Chewie used to have a completely different appearance when the game first launched. Next is our star cards. Oh, star cards, what a history they've had, being in loot boxes and probably had the worst reputation. But that's not my point. They weren't always designed this way. In the alpha and the launch of the game, they were the same colours of green, blue and purple. But the beta of the game said otherwise. It wasn't the same colours, it actually went in metals: bronze, silver, gold and platinum. This may have just been a trial run for the design of the game, since it's nothing we had seen in the alpha. Plus, the colours of these metal star cards weren't well received at all. A lot of fans' feedback were heard by DICE and they were saying the colours need to go back to the vibrant ones that you can easily distinguish. Because the metals, you know, bronze, golds, even though they're a bit off, like, they can still be pretty similar and it will get really confusing. So at the end of the day, it finally went back to the colourful cards, I guess, to really tell who has what level of cards. If it was all platinum, it would probably look a bit weird. But it was pretty interesting to see DICE was experimenting in different colours of the star cards, but I'm just glad it eventually went back to the alpha version of common, uncommon, rare and epic in the grey, green, blue and purple. I think they look much better. But speaking of colours, did you know there was actually a legendary tier star card back in the alpha? And this was very controversial. People were already catching on to the point that the loot boxes were a thing and that they were pay to win. But imagine if you got a legendary card in the loot box, which thankfully was quickly overruled at the time. You could only craft a legendary card with your crafting parts. You couldn't get them in loot boxes at all. And at that point, that was just the perfect answer they needed, because if you could get a legendary card in a loot box, I think the launch of the game would have been a lot more intense on the team. But overall, I think it just brought on too much controversy, and there was already enough tier of star cards in the game, so it got removed entirely. But yeah, there was an idea to have legendary star cards in the game. Darth Vader's Force Choke. When the game launched in November, Darth Vader, believe it or not, wasn't always the tank he is now. Yeah, he was still powerful, but he wasn't that powerful as he is now basically. His Force Choke was so frustrating at times. Basically, it worked completely different to the way it is now. You can choke enemies and you would have to then spam your attack button while they are choked to damage the enemies. If you didn't spam your attack button, then the choke would do nothing and just simply have them floating in the air. And it was pretty annoying because you couldn't cancel it and you stood there like a lemon taking damage because you couldn't defend yourself. So Guillaume, our hero designer, our hero in general, credit to him, completely reworked the ability to what it is now, where the damage is dealt on impact and you can cancel it whenever you want. Yeah, there are still some problems with Vader being a bit too strong, and sometimes the Force Choke can give you a bit of a headache. But I think it was a great change and decision by the development team, one I think the newer players of the game would really appreciate. And finally, the non-hologram menu. Now, I know pretty much all of you guys will know about this, but to be honest, I just needed a 5th feature, because it just looks awkward to put 4 features in the title. But anyway, it was the holographic menu, and it gave that Star Wars vibe. At first, it was really cool, reminded me a lot of the holograms from The Phantom Menace and A New Hope. But the community realised that skins are going to start coming to the game, and we was all excited, but we all had the same one concern, that you can barely see the skins in this holographic menu. So it was eventually changed to this blurred out Death Star background, which is much better. Of course, it still needs some work in my opinion, because the spawn screens are also the Death Star, and it's a bit weird then spawning in on Naboo, for example. But nonetheless, it's one of the best changes that has happened to the game, because it helps the community, it helps the purchases, it helps skins, all kinds of things, just to make the player experience more enjoyable. But those are 5 features you may have not known about, or if you did, maybe just a fun video to look back on to see what Battlefront once was. Give a bit of nostalgia. Now these videos you're going to see this week are actually pre-recorded. I recorded them just maybe this Friday, I think. And this is because I'm currently on holiday right now, and I'm on holiday for 2 weeks. All throughout this week I'm going to be uploading the videos I previously made, just to keep you guys interested and give you guys some Battlefront, I guess. But the week after that we'll have no videos, and you'll see in the testing the Battlefront later this week I explain what's going on. So just keep in mind that I am on holiday right now. I'll probably be slow replying to any comments, anything basically. So I hope you guys enjoy these videos that I've put out for you throughout this week. Let me know if they're any good, you know, just want to keep you guys entertained and in the loop. Leave a like if you enjoyed. It's been Riva, and I'll see you in the next video.